Nobody tells you what to expect. They don't tell you anything when you're pregnant. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shakia if you are new here. In today's video, I am sharing what I plan on doing differently as a second-time mom. And I just want to say heavy on what I plan to do differently, because you plan to do stuff and then sometimes it just goes left. All right, so this list is in no particular order. I was just writing down ideas and I'm just gonna share what I plan to do differently. So the first thing I plan to do differently is not co-sleeping. With my firstborn, I was co-sleeping because it was just a lot easier. I was alone for most of his first year of life, so I co-slept with him. And yeah, now it is 5, almost 6 years later, and he is still in our bed. So I definitely plan on not co-sleeping this time around. We already have baby's bassinet right next to my side of the bed, and I'm so excited. We're getting closer, but I definitely do not plan on co-sleeping this time around. I don't want to have to go through that trying to get the baby to sleep in their own crib, or when it's time for them to be a toddler and they're not sleeping in their own bed. So yeah, we're gonna eliminate that. She's gonna be in her bassinet and then transition to the crib that her big brother should have slept in a lot more. And yeah, we're gonna nip that in the bud right away. The next thing that I plan to do differently is breastfeed. As a first-time mom, I did not know that breastfeeding could be as difficult as it was. I thought like everybody that planned to breastfeed, like it just came easily, but that is not the case for everyone. And I learned that with my firstborn, and I feel like I didn't give it that much of a chance either. So this time around, I am going to try harder than what I did with my son, and I've been doing more research. I'm about to schedule a breastfeeding class. I definitely want to take this time because this will be our last baby, and I just want to take this time and actually put forth more effort than I did the first time. If it comes down to it where I've done everything I could and I still can't breastfeed, then of course I don't mind formula fed, because fed is best, whether it's formula or breastfeeding. So yeah, I'll definitely be taking y'all on a journey with me on my breastfeeding journey, because I just feel like it's not talked about enough. Like you see all this content about people having stashes of breast milk, but nobody really telling you how to get there. And yeah, we're gonna start from zero, and I'll show you my journey until like I have a stash, because I do want to have a stash. I have a deep freezer and everything. So, and then of course breastfeeding is free compared to buying cans of formula all the time. So if I can breastfeed and eliminate that cost, then that's good with me. This might not be important for other people, but it's very important to me, because I look back on when I had my son and I'm like, what was I doing? Like I was just going with the vibes. And yeah, it was just a true learning experience for me, because nobody tells you what to expect. They don't tell you anything when you're pregnant. I figured out a lot of stuff on my own through going through the motions, whatever the case may be. So the next thing that I'll be doing differently is having an actual changing station in the home. With my son, I didn't have like a changing station. I had a pack and play and there was like a changing area on that. So I'm not sure like why I wasn't using that for real or not. But anyways, yeah, but I would literally take, you know, the diaper bags that come with the changing pad or mat, whatever, literally take that out. I'm talking fresh out the hospital, and I'd be getting on the floor of my apartment, changing my baby on the changing mat. Like, if you just got stitched up, you shouldn't be like going down to the floor, getting back up constantly. Babies need to be constantly changed, and that was me constantly changing my son. And it's like, now looking back, I'm like, what in the world were you doing? And I also feel like that's why it, to me, felt like it took my full 6 weeks to recover after giving birth, because I was doing stuff like that, changing on the floor, whatever the case may be. So this time around, I definitely want a changing station somewhere, and just so it eliminates me getting up and off the floor after coming fresh from out of the hospital. Like, what was I doing? The next thing that I'm going to do differently is introducing food better to my child. I feel like with my son, I was doing an okay job, but I definitely feel like now, seeing how he's so picky with what he wants to eat and stuff, and like just getting him to sit down and eat like a full meal, like, it's a little difficult. So I want to do better this time around, introducing foods, encouraging them to eat by themselves. Like, when we moved out here to be with my husband, like, all we would do, like, while we were eating, we would just give our son the food. Like, we would basically be feeding him, and it's like, he's old enough where he can be feeding himself. Yeah, he was 1 year old, but he should be like eating by himself. Like, we shouldn't have to tell him, come here, Grayson, and give him bites of food and stuff like that. I feel like that's where we kind of went wrong. There are other stuff too, but like, I definitely plan on introducing foods better and having her feed herself a lot more than what I did with my first one. Like, my son, he'll eat all his fruits, all his vegetables, like all that. Fruits and vegetables, we got that down. But when it comes to like the other parts of the meal, it's like, we're like, eat that, eat that, eat that, like constantly having to be on him. Another thing that I'll be doing differently this time around is no daycare. No daycare. So with my son, when I had my son, I was active duty military. So of course my son had to go to daycare, and of course I was by myself with my son for like almost the whole first year of his life. So yeah, there was nobody else to watch my child. I had to put him in daycare, but fortunately this time around I work from home. Yeah, if you're new here, I am a licensed esthetician and I do work from home, so that eliminates that stress. I'll be home with my baby until they start pre-K and kindergarten. Again, another expense eliminated, because I was paying for daycare for what, 5 years? Almost 5 years until my son started kindergarten. So yeah, I was happy when it was time for my son to go to kindergarten, because that meant that I no longer had to pay for daycare. And I just feel like not having my child in daycare this time around, especially, it eliminates like the thoughts of what can go wrong, because they can't talk, they can't speak for themselves. So yeah, it eliminates that. And also because the situation has changed, when I had my son, I wasn't married to my husband, so I was able to get him into a daycare that I wanted him to be at very quickly. And even when we moved to California, it was the same way, because me and my husband weren't married at the time, we were considered like single parents. I think that's what it was. Like, we were considered single parents. So my son was able to like get to the front of the line and get into daycare pretty fast. So we won't have that luxury this time around, getting our child into daycare that quickly, because now we're married. And I know social development is very important, so this like slides into another thing that I'll be doing differently, and that's having play dates, like a lot of play dates. I plan on doing all the things like play date wise, meeting up with other moms with a baby my age, not a baby my age, baby my baby's age, just so that she's not lacking in the social development part, because I know that is a very important part of growth. So yeah, even though she won't be in daycare, we'll still be hitting milestones by going to play dates. Something I'll also be planning on doing differently, which with my son, I guess the daycare, they prepped him a little bit for kindergarten, but now that now that my son's in kindergarten and I know the goals that they want by the end of the year, I'm saving all that information so that I can, through time, with time, be able to prep my baby for kindergarten and feel confident prepping her for kindergarten. Because with my son, it's like, he's my first, I don't know like what exactly he should know and be ready for and all that stuff. But now, going through the experience for the first time with my son and him being in kindergarten right now, I'm keeping all the information so that I can use it to help prep baby number 2. Another thing that I'll be doing differently this time around is getting my baby dressed every day, regardless if we're going somewhere or not, which we'll be doing walks every day. But regardless if we're going somewhere or not, she's gonna be in a piece of clothing that was purchased for her. Because with my son, like, we were in the house a lot and I would just let him lounge in his like his pajamas basically, and he had so many clothes that he was not able to wear. And I'm a person, like, I love clothing, and one, that's a waste. Like, you had all these clothes and you weren't able to wear all of them. So regardless if we're going somewhere or not, my baby is getting dressed for the day in regular clothes, because I will not let that happen again. All right, this next thing that I'll be doing differently, which I know can be controversial, but I plan on not allowing her to have a tablet. I'm trying to hold off for as long as possible. I actually didn't want my son to have a tablet. I definitely see the pros and cons with having a child with a tablet, and I know for the second time around, I definitely want to hold off on getting her a tablet for as long as possible. And when push comes to shove and she does end up eventually getting a tablet, I know to monitor it. Like, you really gotta monitor what your kids are watching, because there are some crazy people out there, and you think your child is watching content for children because they're targeting children and using children characters and stuff like that, but it is not good content. We can go as long as possible without giving her a tablet. I got my son his first tablet when he turned 2 years old. I see the pros and cons, and I definitely know how to move forward with the tablet from now on. Next thing that I want to do more of is read more and talk more. Yeah, I have this YouTube channel, but I am not really a talkative person, and I don't know, I'm just not really a talkative person. I don't talk just to be talking. I do plan on reading every day to baby, and my son is already excited to read to her too. So read to her every day, talk a lot more, even if it's just little things like what I'm doing at the moment, or yeah, just basically what I don't usually do, small talk. I'm gonna have small talk with my baby. All right, so this last thing that I plan on doing differently is to clean and cook while my baby is awake. I know, like, people say when the baby is sleeping, you should be sleeping too, but not everybody takes naps. Like, I'm not a nap person. Like, I really have to, I either have to be sick, be in my first trimester like I was with this baby, on the couch falling asleep and stuff like that, but not everybody is able to just sleep when their baby sleeps. And when your baby is awake, it's like you want to be present and hold them, or whatever the case may be, before their next nap. But this time around, I definitely plan on cooking and cleaning and getting things done while the baby is awake, because I think it was a TikTok where someone had made a good point, like, you can cook, clean, do whatever when your baby, because they're just a baby sitting there, and they can watch you and just watch what you're doing and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna do that, and that way when they are sleeping, that gives me time to do whatever it is that I want to do, like relax or watch TV or whatever the case may be. And it's like, okay, I'm getting stuff done, but at the same time, I can relax throughout the day during her naps. All right, that is it that I have for you in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more mommy content, because I have found the cutest diaper bag, and I'm going to do an unboxing. I want to do packing my hospital bag. I want to do packing a baby bag. I want to do all the things. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you in my next one.